What if the person who murdered an entire family stayed in their house for hours afterward, ate their ice cream, bandaged his own wounds with their first aid kit, fell asleep on their couch, and then simply walked out the front door into the night and vanished forever? He left behind his blood, his fingerprints, his DNA, even his clothes. Japanese police have collected more physical evidence from this crime scene than almost any murder case in modern history. And after more than 2 decades and over 250,000 police officers assigned to the case, they still don't know the killer's name. December 30th, 2000. Kamiso Shigaya, a quiet corner of Tokyo's Setagaya ward, the kind of neighborhood where nothing happens and is always peaceful. Mikio Miyazawa was 44 years old, worked for a foreign trading firm. His wife, Yasuko, was 41. She ran a small business from home. They had 2 children, Nina, 8 years old, and Ray, 6. The family had lived in this house since the early 90s, but their neighborhood was disappearing around them. One by one, neighbors had sold their land to the city, which planned to expand a nearby park. By the end of 2000, the Miyazawas were one of the last families left on their street. They had talked about moving, but Ray had a developmental condition, and his parents worried about how a new environment might affect him. So they stayed a little longer. That night, like most families across Japan, they did their New Year's shopping. They came home. They had dinner together. And at some point, after the lights went out, someone climbed a fence, then scaled a nearby tree and quietly slipped through a second-floor bathroom window. He was already inside the house. What happened next will become one of the most meticulously documented and least understood crime scenes in Japanese history. 6-year-old Ray was killed first, in his sleep, on the home's mezzanine floor. Mikio was attacked next, on the ground floor, with a kitchen knife taken from the family's own kitchen. He was stabbed more than 10 times. Yasuko and Nina were killed in the loft upstairs. The violence was so extreme that investigators later described it as unlike anything they had ever seen. By the time it was over, all 4 members of the Miyazawa family were dead, and the killer didn't leave. For reasons no one has ever explained, the killer remained inside the house for at least 2 more hours, maybe longer. He went to the kitchen. He ate ice cream and drank barley tea from the family's refrigerator. He sat down at the family's home computer, logged on, and created a folder at 1:18 in the morning. He rifled through documents and dumped them in the bathtub. At some point, investigators believe, he was injured, badly enough that he used bandages from the family's first aid kit and even sanitary products belonging to Yasuko to stop his own bleeding. He used the toilet. He didn't flush it. And when he finally left, sometime before sunrise, he simply walked out. No alarm, no struggle, no witnesses. He left behind almost everything that could identify a person: fingerprints, footprints, blood, skin cells, even a nylon bag containing sand believed to have fallen from his own clothing. It should have been the easiest murder case to solve in Japanese history. but it has become the hardest. Here's what makes this case so maddening. Investigators recovered the killer's blood type, his fingerprints, detailed DNA profiles, the exact brand and static of the shoes he wore, a British sports brand sold almost nowhere in Japan at the time, clothing, a watch, even sand that forensic geologists traced to a specific narrow region. Years later, better DNA science revealed something new. The killer likely had mixed ancestry. One parent was probably East Asian. The other may have come from Southern Europe or even the Caucasus region. A clue like that should make the search easier. Instead, it made the mystery deeper. Police checked Japan's own DNA and fingerprint records. No match. They asked South Korea for help, since some evidence pointed there. Still, no match. Investigators looked into U.S. military connections, foreign workers, even hired killers. None of these theories have equal bending. Every lick leads to the same wall. A man who left behind almost his entire biological signature and several counting of in any record, anywhere. This case didn't just change one neighborhood, it changed Japanese law. Back in 2000, Japan had a time limit on murder cases. If a killer stayed hidden long enough, they could never be charged, even if they later confessed. Cases like this one helped change that. In 2010, Japan removed the time limit for murder completely. This means the case can never legally close. Whoever did this can still be arrested, no matter how much time passes. Every year, on December 30th, investigators return to the house. Some are retired now. They were young detectives when the case began. The search hasn't stopped. They still hand out flyers at the nearby train station. They still hold up a sketch of a face no one has ever identified. A reward of 20 million yen still stands. No one has ever claimed it. Mikio's mother is in her 90s now. She has waited 25 years for a name. More than 250,000 police officers have worked on this case since 2000. Over 16,000 tips have come in from the public. Still, nothing. Somewhere, there may be a man, now in his 50s or 60s, a man who once spent a whole night inside a house he had just destroyed, who ate from their kitchen, who used their computer, who left almost every trace of himself behind, and still walked free. DNA science keeps improving. Every year brings new hope. Somewhere in the world, a relative's DNA test could one day break this case open. But for now, the Setagaya family murders remain what they have been for 25 years. A mountain of evidence pointing at a man with no name.